delayered a bit, took a couple off. It's warm. I've just had a message from Simon. They're going to be a little bit later, which gives me a bit more time. Hey, look at that! The guy's just passed me when I started taking my stuff off, and he's almost around the corner. Super fit. I'll get there. Oh, comfy. These electronic poles are brilliant. I've just gone into the settings on them and changed them to uphill mode. So they're going to give me a bit more boost now, so that's good. In last week's video, I spoke about the geology of a valley like this and mentioned the river delta from hundreds of millions of years ago. And over a long time, hundreds of millions of years, that river delta laid down layers of different kind of materials, which were obviously under great pressure as the layers got thicker and thicker. At the bottom of all of that we get sandstone, and then we get layers of shale and some layers of sandstone. Now, sandstone is usually quite a weak rock, but obviously it's stronger than shale. And then in those layers you get layers of gritstone. And there are various kinds of gritstones. I'm on Kinder Scout at the moment, so this is Kinder gritstone. The whole of this table of rocks is sloping upwards. So the shale that's below Kinder gritstone is the shale that makes up Mam Tor. And because it's shale, that's why it's unstable. Very, very weak. It's not really a rocky shale. It's just particles. To the north, over the Pennine Way, we've got Blackstone grit at Blackstone Edge and different layers of grit there. Blackstone grit is very similar to Kinder grit. And that's really why Kinder's here, because there's this huge slab of harder rock. It's still being eroded, so the river delta had gone. There had been seismic shifts in the landforms, and the glaciers formed, and then the glacial meltwater wore out those sedimentary layers. And the strange shaped rocks you get all over Kinder are the ones which have been worn out when that glacial water broke free and came roaring down for a long time, carrying particles of grit, etc. Some of the stone has been eroded by wind. The sand gets picked up in the wind, and it blows against the rock and it erodes it. But pretty much all of this is river erosion still, or glacial meltwater erosion. One of my favourite parts of Kinder is Hartshorn, which is to the behind me now. And Hartshorn is very much a woolpack in waiting. You can see some of the stones are starting to emerge there, every bit as interesting as the ones on the woolpacks, which are just incredible forms of rock. Now then, gentlemen.
How are you? Good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you.
I didn't realise it was you.
Hiya, mate.
Good to see you, mate. So I said, oh, there he is. I thought he was just joking.
Right. Well, can you look at that for a view? This'll do for tonight's bedroom. That's Rabbit Rock, apparently. Intently go there. Now that's a good deal, and I think that's. So we're getting sorted. Got me spare clothes in the dry bag. Warm socks possibly for later. I've got my thermal gear on. Got my thermal booties on. I've got my puffer jacket and down trousers ready if I need them. Got the big Agnes inflated, and that's up behind me, and the sleeping bag's there ready to get into when I need to. Just got some water boiling, soup and coffee. Not brought any cups or plates, so I'm going to eat out that pan, and I've got coffee in that one. And when I've had those, I've got Fray Bentos chicken tikka and some savoury rice, which I will. Don't think I'll boil in a bag though, so I'm going to put them in this and bring it and warm them that way. I have tried using the Wildside Adventures stove. Could I hell as like get it to light? Whereas this one lit straight away. This is the different one. I'll write it on the screen. Got these new boots. They are Morel. They're meant to be fully waterproof. Speed Strikes 2s. Very comfy. I had to stop bringing them up because I've got a pair of bamboo socks on and then a pair of better, but they're only ankle high socks, and they were coming down, so I just took them off. And I've been comfy enough. Okay, I've not done a really big walk today, but there you go. So this footpath that we're on here runs right through the middle of where we're camping. Just skip round the back of Steve's rather excellent no tent. And you can see it running off here, look. Straight in front of us. And heading off up there. This is a very, very old footpath. We're looking at this footpath being in use when Mantor was a hill fort, but probably even long before that as well. This would have been the route across Kinder Scout. Now, why people would want to go across Kinder Scout, I don't know. But it's been here a long time. Now, thinking about it at that time, when it was a forest and this was full of trees, then this path would make sense then, because people would want to come up into the forest because they would be hunting up here. Yeah, so there we go. So that's the campsite. Hope I'm not catching Steve doing anything untoward in his tent. Unbelievable, look at that. Someone's left a pair of socks in there and some burnt wood. Dirty. Ugh, makes my blood boil. Got the cuppa. It's 6:30. Dusk. Pitch black outside now. Coolish in that wind. Wind's not too bad really, but it's really taking the edge off the air. I'm in my sleeping bag. Got all the sides fastened. Got a cuppa. I'm just watching a bit of video, and then I shall be reading. Feeling quite tired, but obviously 6 o'clock's very early to have a sleep. One issue with when it's windy, so I've got the outside skins stretched tight, but you still get flappy on the inside. But one of these little clips, now if you go to the description of the video, look at the link at the bottom, it'll take me to my blog, and on my blog there is an equipment page. All the equipment I use is on there. I find that's probably a better way of doing it than putting it on YouTube, where I have to update every single time, and it's a bit of a pain updating it. So these little clips, all I've done, I've clipped through from the inside onto the pole, and you can see that's much tighter, and I've got no flap at all on that part of it there. I'm probably going to put another one on the bottom there as well, and obviously you can do it on both sides.
And good morning. That is definitely the best night's sleep I've ever had camping. Fell asleep 10ish, I think, maybe. Slept very solidly through till midnight. Briefly woke up and then straight back to sleep. Thought it was about 2 o'clock. Looked at my watch and it was 5:20. Yeah, it's really good. Look at what we've woken up to. Isn't that amazing? And I've not brought my time-lapse camera. So I'm gonna get a brew and then get all packed up. I want to be leaving about 8 o'clock. Get back down to Edale to meet Hannah and Danny. So I'll probably bring you back when I've done all of that. I'm just gonna do a cuppa. I'm sure you don't want to be doing that. What a lovely night's camping. Meeting the lads was brilliant. We had a real good yarn last night. Lots of banter, as you can imagine. When it got dark, we all shut the tents up, but you could still talk to each other. But we all did his own thing. You know, I read a book and stuff. Brilliant night's sleep. Best I've ever had camping. Amazing. Packed up quick this morning. All goes in my backpack very easy. Love this new sack. Lost my tent peg bag somewhere, so I had to take everything out. Found it, put everything back in, and then realised I'd put the blooming peg bag back in. So my tent pegs are in one of the pockets loose, which isn't ideal, but such is life.
And I'm off on the start of day 2 and being joined by Hannah and Danny.
Hello.
And the weather is glorious. Just looking along this valley here, and you can see a wall going up there, right up the side, and it's by no means the only one. There's quite a few, and you think, who on earth built walls like that? And there is a very good reason why they were built, and it's to do with the Enclosures Act, which you might have heard of. But what you probably didn't realise is there wasn't one Enclosure Act, there were 5,300 of them, and they were done on a local basis really. So what would happen is, in a village, everybody would have a strip of land, a long narrow garden basically, which was theirs to grow their produce on and which would feed them. Now there's problems with that system because, you know, they have 2 sons and the parents die. Do they cut it in 2 to make a half a strip, or do they just give it to the eldest son, and what happens with the youngest son? So that's one issue. The other issue is rotation of crops, because, as you may know, if you plant the same crop in the same place every year, the land gradually goes sour. You can't grow that one anymore because you've used all the nutrients that plant takes. Plus, diseases can live in the ground, ruin your crop every year. So the answer they came up with was for the people in the village to get together and to divvy up the land into fields, which then would be allocated to each person. Now you think, well, they're going to get the same amount of land, but no, because they would include the common land areas where villagers had a right to graze their crops. So that became a much bigger plot of land. And one of the regulations about doing an enclosure was you had to make it an enclosure and build a wall around it. And that's where all of these walls came from. Now people do call the Enclosures Act the biggest theft of the common person, because none of that land now, or very few parts of that land, are owned by the villagers anymore.
They're all owned by lords and rich people who bought huge swathes of land, and that's why we have issues like on Kinder Scout. It's owned by a private person, a lord, won't let anybody go up on there because it's his land, and we had to have the mass trespass to change that. Now after the mass trespass there was a huge kick-off really. What people won't have heard of is the trespass that took place on Winnet's Pass, which was far bigger than the Kinder one, and they were regular, so there was a lot of pressure. The result of that pressure eventually was that the Kinder was bought by the government and made into the first national park. But it wasn't until 2000 that we got the Countryside Right of Way Act, the CROW, which is what gives us all permission to wander where we want above the fence line. There's quite a few features like this coming up in the stones. And what this probably was when this stone was laid flat, there'd have been a rock or a pebble in the middle of it, and the water swirling round it has made this depression. Some of them go quite deep, and when you get further up you'll see it's obvious the stone's collapsed. So you can see this shale level here. Now when the river erodes the bottom of it, that's got no strength to support, so that will slump and there'll be a big slide there, and that's out Namtor. And if you look all down the Edale Vale, there are big slumps, which is when the shale measure, which is well below the Kinder gritstone, and that's where it's going to fall. And we're carrying on up.
Nothing is better than this. Another moment that we get to live. Breathe the cold air in my lungs. Breathe worry out. 'Cause this life is such a gift. This is the only life that we're ever gonna live. I feel it in my chest. This air I'm breathing in. I wanna take it all in. 'Cause nothing's better than this.
This is my version of organisation. Got my file mat down, got my airbed blown up at the back, got my sleeping bag lofted up in front of it, emptied my rucksack and it's there. Any spare clothing I've got is in that black pack liner. Got my chair ready to sit on. Over in this corner I've got all my cooking stuff and bags of electronics, etc. Got my stove out here, which I'm about to use. Tired, it's been a hard couple of days really. I think I found the climb up Grindslow yesterday harder than the climb up Grindsbrook. There was a couple of bits where I was thinking, oh, I'm going to have to change tonight's plan to come back up here. I don't think I'm going to be fit enough, strong enough to do it. But one step at a time, got through it. Actually, it's gone really well. I mean, Grindsbrook is such a stunningly beautiful place that gives you a reward as you're walking up it. And you know you've got that pretty small bit at the end, the final scramble, which is actually, you know, quite exhilarating in itself. Hiking across the moor when we got to the top was harder than I thought it would be. But we got here. We found two good pitches close to each other. Hope Hannah's going to be okay with Danny and the tent. It's warm enough. They're just trying to cook some food now, which see how that goes. I've got my tikka and rice in a pan of water that I'm boiling. I did it wrong yesterday. I put them in a pan and tried to cook in that pan. Now, titanium pans are difficult to cook with because they get very hot very quickly and they conduct, like instantly through, so it burned. And it wasn't actually that hot when I ate it. So I'm hoping that this way of doing things might be better, but we'll see. Get it to boil and just, have I got enough fuel in there? Have a heck. Right, so I need some more fuel in. So that's the next thing. It's 6:20. We've got 20 minutes before it starts to get dark. Promising star field, I think. I might have a go at doing some photography with it. My power bank. So I've got this 10,000 milliamp hour power bank, which has built-in leads, which is quite good. But that charged my phone and the Osmo. Not the big battery, I don't think. So luckily I brought another 10,000 milliamp hour one. But it's not a fast charge, so it's charging my phone, it's just trickling it on, which is fine. Been reading my book, I'll continue to do that. I'm keeping my tent pegs by the tent pole. I'm going to do that as a convention, so see how we get on. What else? That's it, I think. I'm not going to be 6:20. I'm not going to be too late before I lay down and go to sleep, because I am really tired, physically tired. I've just had an isotonic drink to hopefully ward off any cramps. Managed to get the drone up and do a bit of flying around, so I'm glad I brought that. I've got a couple of shots which you'll see in the video. Got to mention this rucksack. It's brilliant. Same statement as yesterday. The side pockets have let me down on it. Not big enough to put my drone in, but I've got 2 Osprey side pockets add-ons coming. In fact, they're at home, so I will give those a go. What else? Fine, no, that's it, I think. As soon as it gets dark, I'm going to be shutting the canopy, I think. Yeah.
Nothing left there. And that's mine. I left it just as we found it, so others can enjoy it and nature can do its stuff.
Good things are coming my way. Put a smile on my face and remember this life isn't just a race to be won. There's a world of possibility and it's waiting for me